And welcome back to Breaking Waves. On today's episode, we have a very special guest. These are two women I actually looked up to before I started in my own business journey, Phillips and Venna Tohilima. They are the founders of Lashfix, which is a lash and brow training and business coaching business. They're based in Australia, in Melbourne, right? Mm-hmm. And they're here to join us and speak about their journey. Welcome to the show, guys. How are you this afternoon?
Yeah, good. Thank you so much for having us. How are we? I'm a little bit nervous, to be honest, but I'm excited, yeah. We've been watching your show for a while, so it's cool to be here.
Thank you. How are you this afternoon, Venna?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm tired. Just the lead up, like coming to New Zealand for a conference. And because we were speaking at the conference, like, you know, just a lot of mental space. But
yeah.
I'm glad that this is now the fun stuff. So
yeah, exactly. Tell us about the conference.
It was good. It's our first time speaking as international speakers, so that was exciting. Especially being in a lineup of other global brands. That was pretty cool. But overall, I think for us, we were really excited just to show up as us, and show up for the brown girls in the room. That was probably the hardest but most exciting part of the whole conference day. We were actually so shaky when we started talking, but once we got into it and we could see the girls that were engaged, I was like, okay, like this is it, like we're doing it. These are the things that we keep talking about on our socials. You know, we talk about showing up and leading the way and doing things even when you're scared. And you could tell we were, but it was cool to but really walk that talk, and then see and receive the feedback after. That was good.
That's awesome. Yeah. Congrats. That's awesome. We'll probably get into that more later, but I wanted to ask you guys, you know, tell me about yourselves. Like, where'd you grow up? What was it like in your family? What's mom and dad like? Yeah,
so I am, my name is actually Mavainga. My mum shortened it to Venna because no one could say my name at school. I'm 7 years older than Nama. We grew up in Ranui, West Auckland. We are both, our parents are Samoan. Our dad is actually, is it Kora Niuean? Yeah, our great grandfather was Fuimaono. We had really good parents. Like,
I think our parents, we were talking about it before, they were really strict growing up. Sometimes, so we're like, we're from Ranui, and people are like, do you know blah blah blah? I'm like, I wasn't allowed to leave the gate. No, I don't. I only know Venna, my mom and dad.
That's my world.
But no, they were really strict growing up, rightfully so. I think looking back now, I'm like, okay, that was the right move for us. And even when I did get that taste of freedom, I went crazy. I did all the things that they knew I was going to do. So it was good now.
How was that crazy part of your life? I'm asking because...
Let's just say I started a new social media. I cleansed myself of that. No, I do. I think back about how crazy I was during that time, and I'm like,
how am I still alive?
Right. Because, like, you know, I know a lot of Pacific people. They're brought up in very strict households. I would say I'm one of them as well. You know, stay home. Don't go anywhere. You have to beg and ask for 3 days in advance if you can go to someone's house.
But don't beg too much.
Exactly. Exactly.
And not 2 days in a row.
Exactly. See, you guys know the rules around this. So, you know, you got to put in a business proposal if you want to go somewhere at the end of the year. So those kind of households. And I'm always interested because we have that strict upbringing. They give us all these rules. And when I went out and acted crazy, and I had my crazy period, I sort of realized, like, hey, my parents were right.
Yeah. Like,
did you guys find that?
Yeah, 100%.
I think now that I have my own kids, I'm like, why did I think I could go, like, what do they call it? It was like blue light socials.
Oh.
Or like Yellow Brick Lane or something.
It was like a Yellow Brick Lane was like a rave.
Right.
For like
but only
13,
Palangis used to go.
14.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
And I used to get so mad.
Yeah.
I'm not, like, I'll be like, Mum, can I go? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, you're ruining my life. Like, we are.
Yeah.
I wanted to go outside at 10, 11.
Yeah, it would
12
finish,
a.m.
Yeah,
Yeah.
after midnight.
No way.
I remember there was something that happened like on Fort Lane in the city or something where they had raves underground and stuff.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I didn't go there till after 18.
Well, neither did I. I just heard from like school, like kids who were like
Yeah.
16. I'm like, how are you guys in the city at 16?
I know.
Yeah.
No, but I remember in school people were like, I went to blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, me too.
Yeah.
I just really wanted to fit in. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, same.
I
But
still
really, I was
run.
at home watching my small TV.
Yeah.
Just wondering what it's like on the outside.
Looking at
Yeah, I used to tell like people, oh yeah, nah, I can't make it. I'm going to another party.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. I used to do that a lot too.
That's so
What
funny.
party?
Yeah. And then they'll come to school like the next day or the next week and they'll be like, oh yeah, there was a party at this person's house. I'd see photos on Bebo or on
Yeah.
like Facebook, early Facebook days when Coney
Yes.
was coming out. And they'll be having like family drink ups all together.
Oh my
And I used to envy it. I was like,
Yeah.
man,
Same.
why can't my family be like that?
yes.
Yeah. And now I know why. Life has taught me.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
But-
now I have my own kids. Like, even like, I feel like it's changed a little bit. I don't know, like, for like, so for myself and my husband, when we meet up with our siblings, we were like, oh yeah, let's have some drinks. But it ends at like 9 p.m.,
Yeah.
8:30, because we're tired.
Exactly.
And here's me thinking, when I'm older, I'm going to drink with my, you know?
Drink with
Yeah.
my kids.
I think you're making kids.
Stay to Venna.
Oh my gosh. No, that's crazy. But yeah, I think that our parents are strict for a reason. And now that I look back, I'm like, they're older. Like, of course, I'm going to take their advice on what they've seen through life. And
Yeah.
they come from a different time as well.
Yeah.
Hey? So big ups to you guys for
Yeah.
surviving the strict parenting.
Yeah.
So you guys are now in the whole like business space with business coaching. And I want to talk to you guys about like women and confidence. A lot of Pacific women, you know, I'll speak on Samoan culture, like we're told to like be quiet, be humble, don't speak up, only when you're spoken to, that's when you speak. And this kind of translate into when we go into professional work or when we go into businesses.
Yes.
What have your guys' experiences been in that?
I think naturally I am quite confident, but at the same time, like with our background and strict parents, not even being allowed to talk. Don't put my volume down.
Don't be mimika.
Yeah, that was a big thing. I was always told.
Like,
Yeah, like,
Fia poko.
okay, I'm going now.
Sorry.
Break now. Yeah, I did see, well, looking back, I did see a lot of that through my professional career. Like, you know, when I was working, I used to think like, oh my God, look at these Palangis. They're always asking or they like, ask for praise for the smallest things, right? And I'm like, oh, you just have to do it. Like, that's just your job. These are my thoughts. But then that's the reason why they're getting promoted, right? Because they're asking for the acknowledgement. So their boss does know that they're actually doing work and they're taking the extra step, which is, you know, in like reality, it's quite normal. But if they don't know you're doing these extra things, of course, you're not going to get promoted. But I do look back and I think, oh, there were so many opportunities that I could have taken. But because of how I've been brought up, I've like held back. Like, nah. Be humble. They'll see my work. They'll see it. They might see it, but they don't hear it. And that's probably more important than any of that. So, yeah. And I think going into business as well, it's realizing that you could be the best at what you do, but if you're not the best known, that means nothing. You're not getting booked.
That's so crazy to think about, because I grew up with like a mentality like, nah, you just got to work hard.
Yes.
And then you don't have to see it. God will see it and all of that stuff. But it actually works against you, when you get into these spaces. What about you, Venna?
Yeah, I think I'm naturally introverted, so and I think because I apparently when I was younger, I didn't even know how to speak English until I went to school, and so I was speaking Samoan at home. And then when I went to school, you know,
Why is she laughing? We need to put her up on
she's
this.
probably thinking, you still can't
I'm waiting for the change.
Sorry, keep going.
And so, yeah, apparently I started speaking, like going to school, and then I didn't speak Samoan anymore. So at the table, kitchen table, my dad would always say, like, you know, don't talk if you like, don't speak English. So I used to just sit there and not say anything. I'd be like,
Wait, your dad told you not to speak English?
Like at the
at
table.
home.
Oh, at the
Yeah,
table.
at the table. Like, you know, at the table, you got a lot to say.
Yeah, yeah.
So they like want to talk about your day, but we weren't allowed.
Yeah.
We just,
Wow.
yeah, unless I will say it in
Yeah.
Samoan. But by then I was like, man, I forgot. Like
Well,
Man,
it's
that's
like,
crazy.
where's your mouth to eat? Where's your mouth to talk?
yeah.
It's like, I got a big mouth.
Yeah.
And so I was just not saying anything. Or if I'm at home and I want to tell them my story, my dad will be like, hey! I'm like, okay.
All
So
right.
I used to talk.
Yeah,
Probably,
yeah.
yeah.
It's so interesting that your father told you guys to only speak Samoan at
Yeah.
the table. Was that to kind of like preserve the language?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think that, and also
He wants to understand.
like he'll be
Well, yeah, preserve the language.
so he'll say like to our kids, he's like, oh, my tongue's gonna be disabled because I can't speak anymore English.
He's very limited. Oh, my pepper,
And we just crack up and we're like, you've been in New Zealand or in Australia longer than we've been alive. Like,
Yeah.
That's actually another topic.
Yeah. Hey, you're free to go into that, honestly.
No, like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he'll always criticize us for not being as fluent as I guess we should be. And now my response is like, well, how come you're not fluent in English? Like, you've been here longer than I've been alive, so write me a poem.
I think for him too, it's confidence.
It is
Yeah.
because he actually went to English, like he did English classes. He went to learn
You
English.
guys are so sad to your dad.
Lucky he won't watch it. Because it's not in Samoan.
So he went to learn English, and we're like, you know English, Dad. You don't need to go there. Anyway, he went night school, and he came with these worksheets. It's like, hi, my name is... We're like, Dad, you already know these sentences.
yeah.
But he's just so scared of getting it wrong or being mocked. And I guess it doesn't help with two daughters like us.
Yeah.
But then he like was like went to the next level, and I guess it got a bit harder.
Yeah.
And then that's when he stopped. He was like, nah, that's it. And it's confidence, right? Because confidence is doing things even when it's scary. Yeah.
And your dad is like one of the most loving people I didn't even know him. I've seen him through your content. I'm acting like I know him. But like the videos that you do of how he helps out building in the shop, painting and things like that. I was like, man, that is so cute.
Yeah.
So, passing beyond that, you can just still tell his values are intact, regardless of language barriers.
Yeah.
And I see people lose their values in language barriers all the time. Like they'll directly connect English to being intellectual.
Yeah.
But like just because you know how to speak English doesn't mean you're smart.
Yeah.
And a lot of our parents who can't speak English, they're loving, they're caring, they know how to do things.
Yes.
It's just the language is not there.
Yeah. Well, we say that all the time. Like, my dad, I guess part of the confidence or lack of confidence on his part is that he stopped going to school in primary. So he felt that lack of education, and I guess looking around at everyone else, he always felt that. But we always
He's
look at
so
him.
smart.
Yeah, like he'll see, I don't know, a building, and he'll be like, oh, okay. They did this, this is the foundation. He'll like break apart the materials and be like, oh, they should have used this instead because it lasts longer, or this. He'll be like, oh, not good.
Yeah. They step on the watermelon.
Yeah. And he's just got so many like skills and talents that I could never learn the way that he does. Like sometimes he'll just watch something on YouTube. I'm like, Dad, build a playhouse. He built Venna playhouse in Ranui. Like someone who isn't intellectual can't go and build something from foundation up. Like
Exactly.
That's a different kind of skill. And exactly. Just because you speak English or you're fluent or you're not doesn't directly reflect your intelligence. Like
I'm just like, who hurt you? Like, why do you? Yeah, like he always talks down on himself, and he's like, always brings that story up, like, I'm dumb because I didn't finish school. I'm like, you're dumb. Like, what the heck? No way. You're and he'll see, like, little things, like, I don't know, like a bin that's broken, and he'll know how to, like, repair it. I'll be like, throw it out. Like, and then it'll just be, like, random things, like the way he screwed something on or the way he added something. I'm like...
Like we have this rubbish bin at home. He just won't let it go. It's like every, like, I don't know, year it's got a new latch. He's like found a new way. Like my son will break it and he'll find a new way to like repair it and make sure it still works. And I'm like, man, we can spend $30 and just He's like, no, we don't need to. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
I was just thinking, man, like if he had the right support,
imagine.
I could just imagine like where he'd be. And like then it makes me sad to think of like other kids in Samoa, other kids anywhere, like New Zealand, like Polynesian kids that are so talented, have different learning style at school, and people just label them as dumb.
Exactly.
Far from it, man.
So does he like so I can tell he's a really hardworking, hands-on man who, he's the type of person that I feel like he's those do it, just get things done type of father. How does that come onto you guys? Is he really strict on your careers or education or stuff like that?
He doesn't get the working from home thing.
Right.
He thinks they were just playing on the
like sometimes I'll be like, Dad, I've got a meeting now, I've got a client, and he's like, stop lying, you're just talking on the internet.
Like, our boss, right, his father was with him during COVID. And then he was like, you lazy. Go to work. And then he'd come to the office like, I'm here because my dad said I'm lazy. My boss is like 40-something. And his father is like 70-something.
Yes.
So it's such a, like, if you're at home, like home is for rest day.
Yes. It's like if you're not doing some like hard labor, you're like lazy.
Yeah.
He needs to see me
building stuff.
Like sometimes we'll be like on the laptop like, doing our work, and he's like, oh, so lazy, just go find a job then. I'm like, okay. Put that on the internet.
Exactly.
And so before I started my business, I was actually working at a bank. I was working at Westpac, and he was so happy about that. He was so proud, telling everyone that I work at a bank, and I was like, I am just a teller. I was like, it's not that deep. And then when I quit, he was like, what happened? Did you steal? Did you get fired? And I'm like, man, there's all someone's story so dramatic. Like, it has to be like a dramatic story. I'm like, no, Dad, I hated it. Like, and he was like, yeah, and you're going to do what? Like, going into beauty. He was like, oh, nah, this is just crazy. Like, what are you up to? But I was like, nah, you wait and see. And now he's proud as. And when I think it was like about a year or 2 years in, he went to Samoa, and then he told everyone in Samoa that I do the Australian netball team, the Diamonds. And I was like, not even. But then it was funny because then the next year we actually opened a salon in the city in Melbourne, and we had like netball players come.
Yeah,
we
that's crazy.
Had like diamonds.
See
he manifested.
Your dad manifested. Exactly.
Yeah. And then we did have
we had a few.
Yeah, we had a few. Message us, even Shani.
Jiva.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was laughing, thinking back. I'm like, now you can go tell them that. But, I think they have to, I think they're just like really scared, of trying something new, and like if it doesn't take off, it's like, oh no, don't tell people that didn't work. But I feel like we've learned the most, from things not working.
Exactly. Exactly.
You have to fail to get better, learn, and when we do it again, we know
to get anywhere, really, you have to fail. Like 100%. Failure is just part of it. And I have so many points going onto my head, but I want to bring up the one with your dad. I think they come from another time as well, like where lawyers, doctors, banking, they're like, this is a good job. Back then they told us this is what it is. So that transition into going into like content creator, I own my own business, is like you're not supported by a bigger institution, and it's risky for them. So how was that like translating that to your dad as you guys were starting this journey? Was it hard or?
Well, I actually went to uni to study law, and I
Now you're breaking the law? No. No, jokes.
no, and my dad was so proud, and so was his family, and they like threw me a lunch. Like, I'm like, guys, it's just first year. I'm not even in law school. And yeah, when I told him, oh my gosh,
We had to have a family meeting.
yeah, we had a full family meeting. I don't know if we want to keep this part, but anyway, we were in the family meeting, and I was so scared. I was like, oh my god, like I'm gonna tell him, like he's gonna be so mad. And then Venna, because she's such an egg. Like when it's awkward, she just says something even more awkward. Yeah, and she goes like this. I'm a lesbian. And
My dad's like, huh?
and then I was like, no, I'm not gonna study law. And then he was like, wait, what's happening? Like there was just so much happening in his head, and I was like, no, I'm not lesbian. And we actually have family members that are, and that's okay. But it was like in his head, he was just like, there's like too much happening, there's too much going on. And when I said I wasn't gonna do that anymore, and I was gonna jump on board with Venna, I think were we on doing lashes yet? Lashfix?
Kind of like I had started it, but it's probably only making like nothing.
Yeah.
Wasn't really.
Right, so really early stages, eh?
Yeah.
So I was just like, I think I'm gonna do marketing. Like I actually want to do something different. I saw Venna was starting a business, and I was like, oh, I want to do something cool too. So I went into commerce, and marketing was my first paper, and I was just like, oh my god, everything was clicking. When you're in uni, everything's theory and nothing can be applied straight away. Like if you learn law, great, you're not a lawyer yet. When you go into marketing, you're taught like problem, solution, product or service, and I'm like, oh my god, I have so many cool things to do. And that's like where I went, and even my dad was like, that's just so stupid. Like,
What am I going to tell my family now?
Yeah.
I was like, how many years until you're supposed to graduate? Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, I think even now, he still like doesn't know what to tell his family what we do.
Right.
He's like still doesn't understand
Yeah.
it, no matter how many times we tell him.
Yeah.
But I guess at the end of the day, at least we're not doing anything illegal.
Exactly, right? Because we could be crackheads, if anything. We could be crackheads. I always say that. Even my father, he's like, when are you going to get a real job? I'm like, Dad, I'm working.
Yeah.
And then slowly, 2 years in, he was like, how's work? And I'm like, it's good.
Yeah.
He's like, what contracts are you working on? With the Samoan government then? He's like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, anyways. So it took time to build into that.
I
Oh,
think it's like also for them, it's like they're just trying to protect us.
Yes.
They're just they moved from Samoa to New Zealand, sacrificed, went to work and did labourers jobs, the jobs that no one else would want to do. So they don't want us to do the same. They want us to be better.
Exactly.
So I think that's why our parents are like that, I think they're only like that if they really love us and they care.
For sure.
Because if they didn't care, they'd just be like, oh, just go to work and just give us money. And it's not about giving them money. It's about making sure we don't have the same struggles. Like, I remember Dad working long hours, and Mum at one point had like 2 jobs. It was hard. We always had food on the table, but I think for them it was like they never want us to experience that. Like never want us to experience like struggling.
Exactly.
But I'm like, when you're an entrepreneur, sometimes it'd be like that. But it's so worth it, eh? Like you just gotta stick at it.
Yeah. It's a different kind of struggle, eh?
Yeah.
So like I look at it as like our parents migrated from Samoa to New Zealand.
Yeah.
And then they left the plantation struggle of, getting, and then they saw New Zealand as an opportunity.
Yeah.
I can work in this warehouse and get like $15 an hour,
Yeah.
double of what I'm earning in Samoa.
Yeah.
So they saw that, and then their level of high achievement is the doctor.
Yes.
And now we're in a time where it's like, hold on, we don't need to work for an organization. We can create our own wealth and be self-sustainable. And then translating that to like the older gen is always difficult. But you're so right.
Yeah.
They just want to protect us from what they know best.
Yes, yeah.
And what I'm interested most in is how to navigate that conversation with parents.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of young people are going into entrepreneurship and business
Yes.
owners.
Yeah.
And I encourage it. Hey, I'm all for it. It's a really good time to be a business owner.
Yeah.
I think we live in the time with the most millionaires there's ever been in the world. So there's so much opportunity.
Yeah.
And I hope that Pacific people can embrace it more.
Yeah.
In your own work with women and confidence, what do you guys deal with the most? Do you have women who come and share like experience? I'm not telling you guys to share it, but like especially Pacific women, do you guys find any barriers there with them embracing their journey?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is embracing their entrepreneurship, and then the things that their own parents have said to them have really blocked them. And it's not until we get deep into the conversations that they realize like, oh, actually what was said to me as an 8-year-old, I've carried that throughout. And that's what's like really stopping me from coming out and saying, actually, I am the best at hair, or I actually do have this great method that no one else has. And that's why I do XYZ. Like, there's so many things like we do, like a SWOT analysis of all our clients when we start. And then I'm like, what's your strengths? And they'll list all these strengths. And I'm like, that's freaking amazing. Do other people know this? Do your audience know this? And they're like, oh, nah, because I don't know if that's the right way to do it, or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, are you selling to your competitors, or are you selling to consumers? Like, that's, and I guess that's like surface level business or marketing. But then when we dig a bit deeper, it's that fear of looking like you're wrong, or you've made a mistake. And, when I was saying, parents are like, don't do that, you might fail.
Don't embarrass yourself.
Yeah. But there's so much power and beauty behind just taking that first step and going beyond those fears. That's probably our favorite part of like coaching our clients now, is like seeing them actually step in and blossom, and then come out and say, actually, I am incredible at this thing, and if you're ready to take on a new journey with me, then and then you see them like booking out, creating different type of content. I'm like, oh my god, so beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, that's probably our own journey in itself. I think I can touch on that.
It is. It's just confidence, and just having someone also believe in them and cheer them on. Like if I someone will tell me, oh, I was thinking of doing this, and then I'm like, yes, that's amazing. They're like, and I think they're so used to people going, oh, nah, don't, because what if no one buys it, or oh, I don't think they'll work right now, but how would you know if you don't try it?
Exactly.
And like I love seeing like now on Instagram when I see a lot of like influencers, especially the boys, like island boys, like when they're online influencing, and I'm like, I always like to go all the way back to the beginning, and they had like 30 likes, and to now like 100,000 like followers and like thousands of likes. Like I'm thinking who comes to mind is like Jaden Lang. And I think, man, imagine if he just stopped. Imagine if he was like, oh, I only got like 20 likes on this, like, oh, I'm not that cool, or I'm not that funny, but he just kept going. And like, you see all the hate as well. And I just think, man, I feel like us women, we need to be like that. We need to be more ballsy and like not worry about what other people say, and also have the right people around you. I think that's the key, like actually having, I think that's why we only hang out with like a certain, like we don't have many friends. Like, like I still have like a lot of high school friends, but like I think during our business, growing our business, I've realized that. And plus, like, maybe some people don't want to talk about business, and that's all I can talk about and think about. So I don't want to drain, but being around the right people will honestly just like spark new things in you. Especially when you are feeling like nothing's working, but then you just someone just has to say one thing to you, and you're like, oh my gosh, okay, it's like I can do this, and so I think that's even though we were just doing lashes and like, you know, it wasn't just lashes and brows, we were actually empowering women to
Right.
believe in themselves. So,
Yeah.
and I think that was so special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I loved it, especially our island girls.
Mm.
Yeah.
And even our cousin, like before we came here,
Yeah.
we were talking about her business that she started, and she didn't want to put her face on there. Like she just followed us, but I had a feeling, I knew it was her.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh.
Like I had a feeling that was her business, and then like she didn't say anything until we were hanging out one weekend before, and she was like, we were having a few drinks, and she was like, I gotta tell you guys something. And she told us, and she was like, I started this business, but, and I go, I knew it was you. And she's like, oh yeah, but I don't want anyone to know it's me. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
And then I said, man, you're so good at this stuff. And I'm like, this
Yes,
is
she
where you
is.
belong.
Yeah.
And it was like, she just like sat back and looked at us like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden she felt like confident.
Yes. But
And,
it was so funny because her sister knew, and her sister was like, go to Venna and Ama, they'll help you. And we're like, yes, we will. She's like, and then when Venna said, you have to post your face. Like, people need to know who's behind the brand. They need someone to trust.
Yeah.
She goes like this, that's what I said to my sister. I knew you were going to tell me to do that. And we're like, yes.
Yeah.
It was like, but it's cool to see that, like, just kind of seeing our own journey. She already knew what needed to be done, but she just needed that permission there to go forward.
Exactly.
It was almost like her eyes just lit up when we said that, and we encouraged it, and we were like, bro, you got to do this.
Yeah.
And I think because also now when I think back, like, you know, when hearing conversations as a young person, people are like, oh, this person started a business, so I can't start a business. If they're in your family, like, it's like you almost like, oh no, because you're copying, or
That's so weird.
yeah, it's such a yucky feeling, and I'm like, bro, we can all do something.
Exactly. And I'm honestly always pondering, why does that happen? Like, we have to feel, because this cousin is doing this, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a shame to be gossiped about
Yes.
or talked about it
Yeah.
if you do something. And letting that override your enthusiasm to start something and do something you love is very dangerous.
Yeah.
Actually, that was like, do you remember when there was like that? It was like when candy boxes first came out, and then there was, I think, someone in GI that had started it.
Oh, sweet boxes or something?
Yeah,
And it was
and-
like donuts and everything?
Yeah. And then there was celebrity candy box or something,
yes,
which
yes,
was
yeah.
by the girl that had the waist trainers. And then everyone was like,
The Asian girl, right?
yeah. And then I was like, oh my God, can't believe she copied her, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. And then I remember like tweeting, I was like, well, what's the difference between Telecom, which was what it was called back then, Telecom versus Vodafone, or Optus versus Telstra? Like, there's always competition, and that's how things develop faster, right? Because if you see your competitors doing better, you're like, okay, well, that's my opportunity to do better too. Without that competition, everything's going to be stagnant. We're going to stay the same.
Exactly.
But it's like, I still don't understand that mentality that if one person's doing amazing, you're not allowed to do amazing too, as if two amazing people take shine away from each other. But it's a complete opposite.
You can't give candy to every single person in New Zealand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, exactly. So,
Yes.
and how I always think about it is like, people who usually think like that, they have this thought or idea that ideas are original.
No. Yeah, I was just thinking them in
Because it just shows they think they're so special that their idea is so original. The truth is, you're not that special, and your idea has been passed around from Manirua to Otara.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, and it's not about ideas; it's about execution and
Yeah.
how well
Taking
you
action.
execute it.
Yeah.
And I think people need to feel like not think too much of their ideas.
Yes.
And put more into how are we going to make this happen?
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
that's where the key is. That's where the money is. That's where you can get competitive advantage.
Yeah.
And I think in like poly homes or like islander homes, we're always thinking like, this is mine and that is yours.
Yeah, it's always a
Yeah.
competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's,
I
don't
guess
know.
that's the way our families are set up, right? Like, there's one leader, there's one house that everyone goes to, there's one auntie that does that, and one auntie, like, even like kongai, right? Like only one auntie would do the sapusui, only one auntie would do the oka. If you came with another oka, but you're not the auntie that
You're
does
like,
oka.
yeah.
Yeah,
Rude. Not my oka.
Oh, my lemons were thrown in the backyard.
I use cream. I use cream.
Oh, you use Karl. But I don't know. I just thought about that. Like maybe like that is another effect of how we've grown up. That everyone has their own seat or their own role. That sometimes it translates into that as well. Because coming back to what you were saying before, I remember a lot being told like know your role. And I'm the youngest in our family. Venna's 7 years older, so the rest of my cousins are 7+ years older, and naturally I talk a lot and I'm loud, and I think that was difficult for them to see someone so young be so vibrant and loud. And so they'll always say like, you know, Ama, you just have to blah blah blah, but not always, like, but in certain situations it'll be like, know your role, be quiet, go to the ipukis, which is fine. Like service is part of who we are as well, but it's like knowing how to navigate that and like separate it from who you are as a person and where you come from. Like that's probably been another part of our journey and learning. Yeah.
It's like, don't be too loud when people are looking at you, because you're going to embarrass yourself. And then you start thinking, oh shoot, I should always be like that in every stage of my life.
Exactly.
And so and it's crazy because even when we go to our like family stuff and there's traditional things, we just gotta sit there and watch, and not say anything, not like get a sis.
Just like that.
Exactly.
That long one was bomb.
It's having good social, good cultural cues, knowing when to do something culturally, but that doesn't always have to necessarily translate into like your professional life or your business life. Like how you're saying, oh, they stole my idea. It's like, bro, like that pisses me off the most is when people say that. It's like, did you do it though?
When you look at like big companies, ideas are stolen all the
time. Yeah, exactly.
Adidas,
you
Nike.
just gotta do it better, you know?
And or know who your target market is. Sometimes, there's like a different market and you can change the product to suit who you're targeting, right?
Exactly. And then you gotta
client is and get in front of them.
Even like gyms, like there's like female gyms, there's group fitness.
Exactly.
There's I guess your normal commercial gym, but they all have different target markets. Like when I think of Jet, that was called?
Yeah, Jets.
Like I think they're probably geared more towards someone who's more budget friendly, and then you have places like
someone they're just gonna sponsor the gym.
Someone like me. And then you have like BFT, which I think is like around $60 a week or something like that.
That's pretty pricey there.
It's pricey, but also people kind of buy into the idea of, well, if I go here, I'm gonna be like these elite fitness people.
Or if they pay more, they'll actually go. Because I ain't wasting $60 a week and not attend to something.
Although I have done that.
Oh, you're such a nice sponsor.
I'm waiting for my return.
Okay, so Islanders, they look at big business like Nike, Adidas, and then maybe we sit on the lower end of how much we make, our income and stuff. So we're saying, I can never be Nike, it's way too big. Or I want to be the owner of Sephora, but I don't have enough money, to be that girl who owns that. So it's like breaking it down even more, like, and that takes a lot of research. And a lot of people just think they can't do business because it looks too grand.
But it's crazy though, because if you actually read their books, like I read Shoe Dog, that guy had like, when he started, he had to borrow like 150 or something from his dad. Like he had no money. A lot of these big, massive companies had no money behind them. They just had a dream and they had support. Like, his dad was like, kind of supported him, but wasn't like, don't do it. And now look at where they are now. And they've lost heaps of money as well. And I think that's another thing, I was thinking that before, like, with Balangi parents, I think because they understand business and they know that,
But they've had longer to understand it.
Yeah,
as well.
true.
Exactly.
You know, you read these
This
books
is their
and
world.
yeah, true. You read books and they're like, what the hell? Like they lost their house, they lost their cars,
Oh,
but you don't
yeah.
see that stuff. But if it was one person that lost their house, lost their car, everyone will be gossiping
Yeah.
about
Oh,
them.
yeah.
On Sunday at church.
Yeah. And then it's like, you've just brought shame to our family.
Yeah.
Whereas, but like, you know, when I've read these books, they were like, yeah, it was a bad time. I was depressed, blah, blah, blah.
But that's not the end of their story.
Yeah.
Like,
And they
that's like-
come back bigger and
Yes.
better.
Yeah.
They're always taking massive risks. So, and even Apple as well, when you read about Steve Jobs, like started in his garage, like all these people.
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon, yeah.
No one started with a lot of money.
Exactly.
And I think when you don't start with a lot of money too, you take it more seriously. Like I feel like if you get thrown money, you probably spend it all in the wrong places.
Exactly.
But you got to learn. You got to learn to like really want it and
Yeah. And
keep
sometimes you
going.
need to learn to lose, eh?
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like, okay, don't do that again.
Yeah.
But maybe we can change a few things. And
I feel like our we have grown the most when
Yeah.
our bank accounts like
Zero.
warning. Warning. We're like, oh my god, and we get creative.
Yeah.
Like when we were in our salon in the city, there was one time it was like, oh my gosh, rent is due.
Yeah.
And I was so stressed. Like, you know, we were busy, but I think we did go a little bit too big, too fast. The overheads were like so high.
Yeah.
We were making money, but it was just going out just as fast. And then I was like, should we do a training in New Zealand? And then Amma was like, okay, cool. And then she started, you know, doing all the marketing and stuff. And we came up with what is it called? Like our manuals, like in like.
Yeah, like 2 weeks.
You'll be surprised at what you can do, right?
Yeah.
When you need money, like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think prior to that, we were like, yeah, we'll do training. Yeah, one day. It just never happened. And then we got hit with this bill. And I think that was one of the lessons there, is that your rent is not, like, what your expenses is not just your rent. You get charged body corp rates, or council rates, your utilities. And we were like, oh, so this month's thing is like triple than what we normally get. And so, yeah, I was like, let's do training in Auckland. And we're like, okay.
Because we had heaps of people asking us.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
Nice.
are you guys going to do training? Like, and I was like, oh, maybe. And then it just forced us to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad we did. Because, yeah, we just learned more about ourselves as
Yeah.
well. That we have to step up. We have
Yeah.
to help our, like, island sisters get better. I'm not saying, but we learned from that. But we don't do that anymore. Like, we're a lot smarter with our money now.
Yeah, absolutely. But you wouldn't have learned to be that smart if you had not gone through those
Yeah.
challenges.
And sometimes if you're too comfortable as well,
Yeah.
like you don't really move. And so we were really uncomfortable. We were like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And then we were like, okay, now that we know we can do that, we never want to go back.
Yes.
We never want to
Yeah.
go back there.
Like, how do we keep building instead of going
Yeah.
back?
Yeah.
Like
So-
you almost feel it, the emotion. And like, you know how you remember experiences by how you feel?
Yeah.
You don't remember clearly what happened, but you're like, I just remember when I spoke to that person, it made me mad.
Yes.
Or I
Yes.
remember that person, I felt really welcomed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
experiences really ingrain the feeling
Yeah.
so that you're not going to want to repeat it again.
Yes.
You're not going to want to go through that trauma again. And I love how you guys put it, because welcoming failure is so important.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's part of building confidence as well, because if you can't accept failure, the confidence won't come.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And I try and tell, you know, people that I speak to all the time, I'm like, you have to treat failure like you have to welcome it. Like,
Yeah.
yes, you have to be excited about it, because you can have an entire list of growth from failure compared to a success.
Yes.
Yes.
Like success, yeah, you got your photo, everyone, 250 or 1,000 people like that you did
Yeah.
this cool thing. But the failure is where you're actually growing.
Yes.
And if you can't accept that one part, you just will never move forward.
Yes.
And I think that's a hard thing for people to accept.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you guys like get to the stage where you're like, you know what, failure is all good?
Yeah, we actually get this question a lot. And there's always like different answers, I think. One, our parents, like, they're like, don't embarrass us.
Yeah.
And then 2, we had bills that we needed to pay. Like, there was no messaging the landlord and be like, hey, do you reckon we can pay next week? Because next week will come and we still don't have it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there was something that had to happen. And it's like confidence there. Like, confidence can only come when there's momentum.
Yes.
And you have to take action. You have to move to start feeling that. And I guess when we moved to Port Melbourne, we weren't welcomed. Like, the people there had probably never seen islanders. They've seen like Aboriginals, seen Africans, but they've never seen someone from Samoa. They didn't even know where Samoa was.
Yeah.
We got to the point where we're like, do you know where Fiji is? They're like, yeah, we love Fiji. I'm like, yeah, next door. Like,
somewhere there.
Yeah. But a lot of it was coming back and like, okay, what are the things that people have said to me that I'm carrying? Like, why do I feel like I don't belong? Why do I feel like I can't say I do marketing? Why do I feel like this story is only Venna's? Like, that was a big thing for myself. Like, I would do all our marketing, but I would never show myself, would never talk about it. But it's like learning to, be confident, but also learning to not be so scared of not being liked. That's part of human nature. Like, Beyonce, I always say, like, if you don't like Beyonce, you're an attention seeker. But that's okay if you don't. But really in my head, I'm like, but like someone like Beyonce, like, how can you not love her? Like, how can you not see what she does and think, oh, that's talent, that's skill? But there's 100% people out there who think she's trash, and that's crazy to me. So like, it's putting that into your own perspective. Like, whatever I do, there will be people who aren't going to be fans. The same way when we moved into Port Melbourne, we didn't have any fans. We had 0 local clients. Again, learning from like another lesson to, if you're going to move into a space, do some market research, do some marketing before you get there. Don't open your booking system on the day that you open. We didn't think of that. And our first week was so quiet, and we're like, great launch, great social media. Did we think to maybe make it available for people to book? But I don't know, how do you become confident? It's taking the action, being sitting with those feelings, like, okay, all my life I've been told that I'm too loud, I'm mimika, I think, and those things might be true, but you have the ability, you have the power to turn that around. And I've done things like, I am loud because I demand your attention. That's not on me. That's just how I am. And that's scary to say as a Samoan girl, to say things like, that I'm just that girl. Like, but without that kind of confidence, you can't impact anyone. You can't empower anyone else. Like, you have to empower yourself. You have to really believe to help other people believe.
I love that.
I think also with failure, if you keep thinking that you're going to fail, if you keep like that fear, then you will, like, you actually have to not be afraid of it, because I think you attract what you're afraid of.
Yes, exactly.
So I think that was the biggest lesson for me when we first opened up our first salon. I was automatically thinking, oh my God, like, what if we can't afford rent? What if we can't afford this? But it's like, why would you think like that? Like, you're literally speaking things into existence. So learning how to flip it now, like saying things like, even if you don't know how it's going to happen, saying things like, I always say things like, thank you, Lord, for the rent that's going to be paid this month. Thank you, Lord, for the clients that are coming, like our dream clients. And like, the more you speak like that, the more the blessings come. But if you're saying things like, oh my God, I can't do this, oh my God, I'm useless, oh my God, then
you're actually believing what you don't want to happen.
And so that was probably like, that's the biggest thing I've learned in business, is that we can all achieve anything. Like, I heard something on Instagram, I can't remember what his name is, but he said, like, it's actually impossible to think an impossible thought. Like, so anything that you think, anything you dream is achievable, because it's impossible to think of something that, that can't
what
be
you
done.
said before, like, nothing's original, so
someone's already done it. And so I think we get in our heads like, oh no, this person's better than me, this person's way ahead of me. But man, you just gotta tunnel vision.
Yeah.
And just like, we have a big God that loves each and every one of us.
Yeah.
So why would he favor someone else and give more money to someone else?
Exactly.
Like, you literally have to be like, hey, God, you gave me this dream. Okay,
Yeah.
you need to give me the money. You know what I mean? And so that's how I talk now. I'm like, okay, God, you gave us this vision. And I have to think about that all the time, like why we're doing certain things, like the women that we're meant to be touching, like, you know, that sounds a bit weird. Impact.
I'll cut that up into a TikTok.
But you know, impact. You know, you got to remember why you do the things that you do. So for us, it's like, man, we feel so good about women feeling amazing. That when they light up, that feeling is amazing. That feeling's better than a transaction. You know, like a deposit into a bank account, and that fires me up.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, and so thinking like that, and I always think, okay, God, so you want us to help these people, so how are we? You need to pay. You need to help me.
Yeah.
Help
me, help you.
Exactly. You wanted to spread your word.
And I think, you know, and that's what business is. Like, business is, like, you have to, you're solving problems.
Yeah.
So if you're a business and you don't really know what problem you solve, then you're always going to be going round and round in circles.
Exactly.
So that's, I know that.
Yeah. Actually, what I really like saying to our clients, especially ones with kids, actually all our clients have kids, eh? Yeah, our clients now, and well, they'll talk about, you know, I'm just so scared of this and what people say, and I'm like, or like the negative thoughts that they have on themselves. I'm like, would you ever say that to your daughter? And you can see it like click. They're like, oh my God, actually, I am being really mean to myself. Or I'm like, what would you do if your daughter said that she wants to do this? And then they're like, oh, I would support her. I'm like, so why don't you support yourself? Like, lead from the front. Show them that they can do this. And it's like so cool when they start to realize that and they start practicing it. And then they realize, oh, actually, confidence is just practice. It's momentum. You put it on, you know, like clothes. So you wake up in the morning, you tell yourself good things, you put on your confidence, and then you walk out. Like, there's heaps of times we're so scared. Like, I guess even just coming here, we're like, oh my God, like, this is scary, but it's needed, and it's exciting. It's exciting to do something different, something bigger than we've done before.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And even like the conference that we just came from, I got up on the stage and I was a bit shaky at first. I was a little bit emotional.
Yeah.
Because she spoke in Te Reo, like she did her speech, like she welcomed in Te Reo. And
Love that, yep.
And then I did my Samoan part, and I was like, this is actually the first time I've spoken Samoan in public. And then I was like, automatically, like, I got worried that there might be a Samoan in the room that's like, oh my God, she said it wrong, or her pronunciation's so palangi. And then I had to stop myself, and I had to flip my mindset. I was like, no, I know what it's like to be a brown girl in the room, like one of the only brown girls in the room, and just seeing confident palangi people. I'm like, I said to myself, you know, you need to like be confident for these girls. Like, it's not about you. They came here to feel inspired so that they can go off and be amazing. So I was like, okay, it's not about you, it's about them. And so as soon as I did that, it was like all of a sudden I was like, I could breathe. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. Yeah. Like, I think that's it. And we always think, oh my God, like they're looking at me, they're looking at me. It's like, good, because you're supposed to inspire them. Like, you're meant to help them be better. So.
I love that you put it that way, because you took yourself out of self. So you made it not about you. This is, I'm getting nervous. And once you thought, hey, this is bigger than me, that's when the confidence came. And I love that confidence is connected to a wider good, like a more purpose driven. Because if you're constantly dealing with anxiety, what are people going to think about me? It's usually rooted in selfishness. Like, you're just thinking about yourself too much. And this is, if I was to say this, people would say, no, that's wrong. Like, it's like you're shaming people who have depression, or you're shaming people who have anxiety. And I'm truly not. But in my experience as well, every time I have felt anxiety or some sort of sadness was because I was thinking about myself way too much. So I love how you put it that way.
I do. I used to suffer from anxiety a lot. And it was like, back then, in the beginning, I was like, oh, like, look at me, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I think I just thought that's what business look like. Like you
Yeah.
just have to highlight yourself, and but like the more I learn, the more books I read, the more I learn more about myself. I'm like, actually, like I'm naturally really caring. Like I naturally want to help people, so I have to speak more on that. Like I actually have to do that, and so yeah, I think yeah, you do learn a lot about yourself, eh? Like
I reckon like what Venna was saying, like going back to the conference, what's like really cool to see is like, yeah, she took that moment to take it out, but it was literally seconds. Like, you know, you can't be like, okay, hold on guys, go down and like have that self-talk. Like she was delivering the speech and talking to herself at the same time. Like that's a different kind of skill. That's really cool. Like, and yeah, Venna said before, she is naturally introverted, but she's also naturally amazing. So it's so cool seeing. But it's cool to see her shine. Like, so I know, but I'm like, does anyone else know?
And I think that's where the humility part of island cultures, I think, comes into play beautifully.
Yes,
is because not everyone has to know. But in these situations, not like when you're in corporate or when you have to stand up in business, but when you know you've done so much, you just humble yourself and be like, okay, I'm happy, I'm content that no one knows. And then I reckon you naturally just get people who preach your word, your brand, who you are anyways after that. And it's interesting to me because I feel like your business only grows as far as your personal development. So the two are like super important.
100%.
And a lot of business mentors and coaches, they only teach the theoretical part of how to do something, and without taking someone's personal development, you're sifting and seeing, are they going to spend their money on me and they're not even ready to go into that. So that's like a huge thing as well. I think that's so true, because when I first started like the marketing for Lashfix, I figured out a way to download Instagram videos, YouTube videos without any watermarks, and I thought it was so cool. I was like posting it, and you know, people like message, and I'm like, ooh, no, I don't want to tell you. So I knew another way, and I'll give them the longer way. But like, because I was like, you know, it's that fear of like, oh, she's stealing. But now I look back, I'm like, man, what a missed opportunity to grow my impact even bigger. And I don't really have that perspective. I didn't get that perspective until I started really working on myself and learning about my own fears and what's like the stories that I've been told about myself and what Tene Samush look like. You know, so like owning whatever that looks like for myself has really helped me actually be able to teach marketing in a way that's impactful and you can use over and over again. Like, you know, if we look back, like marketing hasn't changed that much, strategies have, but at the end of the day, it's all problem solution, that's it. And how people behave.
Exactly.
That's all it is. And you're just monitoring, okay, now we're in social media, the Gen Zs are doing this. And it's just keeping up with it. But the concept is simple. It's appeasing to the human psyche. It's actually funny, like about like behavior. I'll look at Venna's kids. Micah, she's 6, and Gippy, he's 8, and I'm watching them, and they're like, no, not really on TikTok anymore. They're on YouTube Shorts, and I'm like, okay, it must be time for me to move to YouTube Shorts. But that's it. It's like keeping an open mind on what's happening, and not being left behind because you're too scared of too scared of change. And that's where we see a lot of our clients are, and our ideal client is actually 40 plus. The clients who are already great at what they do, but no online presence. And a lot of like, sometimes I'm like, do you want to be left behind, like Video Easy and Blockbuster? Do you want to be
like the taxis and when Uber came and just took over?
Exactly.
Or do you want to be Netflix and dominate?
People doubted Netflix as well. They were like, it wouldn't last. Now they're just producing movies back to back. I remember when Netflix came out, I'm like, oh, what's the difference between Netflix and 123 movies? One is illegal. And now I have a subscription. Exactly.
And even now, like, I'm always like, okay, I'm going to do as much as I can now, and I'm always thinking about the kids and when they're going to take over. So I always tell my kids, so I've got a 14-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old son, and I'm always like, is this cool? Is this all right? And they're like,
No.
not really. And I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, I'm already like, okay, when it's time for us to let go, we're going to let go of it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and then let them take over.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, you
It's
might
hard.
enjoy something, but sometimes you just got to let the experts, like, let the next person that's really good
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like,
take over.
a really smart person, a really wise person knows that they can't do everything. Like, they
Yeah.
understand their limitations.
Yes.
And if you don't understand your limitations, you're just holding yourself back.
Yeah.
And it's an expensive lesson too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, I remember when we were going into e-commerce, it was during lockdown, and I was like, okay, well, we don't have a marketing budget, I'm just going to do everything. And I went on to our meta ads, and I was like, yeah, this is it. This is the key. I changed all these things. In one day, we spent like $4,000. I don't know what I did, and I was like, I was so upset, and I was saying to Venna, I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, and she was like, oh, it's alright, and I was like, if this was you, this would not be alright.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like, looking at it, I'm like, okay, I actually need to bring on an expert. Like, just because I can do all other things in marketing doesn't mean I can do all things marketing. Same way as, like, I guess you have a full team, right? You could probably do everything else here, but you choose to stay in your genius zone so that you can keep growing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also trusting the people that you work with is a big thing, because, you know, you're always trying to hold on to something.
Yeah.
You've just got to give that trust that that person has done the best they could in
Yes.
whatever lane that they're in.
Yeah.
And then you can honor that by doing the best you can with what you do.
Yeah.
So it's all like teamwork. And
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful when that trust is there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. We've had our own fair share of, like, trying to trust each other too. Eh?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I
Yeah.
still don't do this. I still don't trust you now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, because Venna started Lashfix, and I, like, actually, we only figured this out like maybe like last year. She started Lashfix. She was like starting to get busy, and she messaged me. She's like, "Hey, can you take over my online bookings?" And I'm like, amazing. I actually study marketing. I heard, can you be marketing director?
Love it, love it.
And I like just, I don't know. I guess Venna can carry on from here.
Yeah, I was just like, hey, because I was like losing out on bookings because I'm busy, you know, like lashing, and people were like calling me, but I don't want to be rude and just like be on my phone while I'm lashing someone. So yeah, I asked her to just jump online and just reply. That's all I wanted her to do. Next thing you know, she's like posting on my social media, and I was like, oh, okay. But then, like, yeah, when she was posting like Beyonce and stuff, I was going, what is she doing? And because my style is more natural, like I don't like I wasn't really into like the full on lashes, so I was always doing like more natural looks, and like Beyonce's quite out there, and she was doing that, and I was like, oh my God. I don't think it's like, but yeah, I just had to trust her because what she was doing, she was a trendsetter. Like, she was doing this stuff way before reels, way before stories. She was playing games with our viewers, like online. She was doing like the polls, and it would be like friends, you know, like what do you call it, like
The TV show.
yeah, but what was like what do you call those games, like trivia? Like, she was doing that. And I was thinking, we need bookings. Don't play with the viewers.
Yeah.
But that did end up being bookings, you know. Like, people think if I post something, someone's gonna buy something straight away. But no, you gotta like nurture that relationship.
Yeah.
They need to trust you and want to buy from you.
Exactly.
You're not selling to like robots. You're selling to humans. So it was cool because we'd have people come and do a lash course, like even last year when we were still in the salon. They were like, oh, I've been following you since 2016, and you know, that was a almost $3,000 sale from someone, you know, back in 2016. And I think that's what people needed, like, you know, now in business. You got to be patient. Like, you can't just like throw your stuff out there and then go viral, and next thing you know, you're a millionaire. Like, it takes years.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah, that's such a common misconception.
Yes.
I'm going to do a brand. I'm going to start a t-shirt brand. It's going to be called south side, and then I'll get Stan Walker to wear it and everyone will buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you know, there are some businesses that do that, like on TikTok and stuff. But even TikTok, like I remember seeing businesses post something and then it goes viral and then they sell out. But now they're like closing down because people don't need that stuff anymore.
Exactly.
So you always got to be like thinking about what's the next thing.
Yeah. And like how to keep nurturing that relationship.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And especially if it's like a one-off purchase, like
Yeah. Yeah.
if they bought it, they don't need it anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
And I'm starting to think, sorry, we'll probably get into our business nerd hats here, but like subscription models,
Yeah.
I'm leaning more towards that now.
Yeah.
Like, because sales is, you got to keep selling, eh?
yes.
Yeah. And with tech now and the massive digital opportunities we have, even people selling courses, class courses and things
Yeah.
like that, I think it's great.
Yeah.
And a lot of people look down on them, but it's like you could actually learn a lot from those
Yeah.
courses for like,
Yeah.
what, $400-$500
Yeah.
in your entire uni paper.
Yeah.
Because this is someone in the real world,
Yeah.
like
Yes.
experiencing these things. But
Yeah.
even when I started e-commerce, I was selling on Amazon.
Mm.
I learned from a guy that sold a course that was $1 a month.
Oh, yeah.
And he taught everyone how to funnel sales, how to find
Yeah.
products, keywords, placements,
Yes.
and all those things. And once I learned, he had 800 hours of videos
Wow.
on how to understand Amazon and drop shipping.
Wow.
And then I was like, okay, this is interesting. So there's things that you need to buy to search for keywords on what
Yes.
Amazon people are searching up. How many people are, if there's a high keyword that's being searched,
Used,
like,
yeah.
then you have to find if there's many people selling it, and then you know, oh, that's a good place where I could source something to.
Yeah.
So all those things, learning that, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't my passion. And then I was like, you know what, I want to do something I actually like. Like I kind
Yeah.
of get the groundwork.
Yeah.
And I learned
Yeah.
that all through a course.
Yes.
A $1 freaking course.
Yeah.
And now I'm here and we have a company and we have an office in Samoa.
That's amazing.
And like people probably like wouldn't believe like that it just started from something so simple and started from
Yeah.
believing and giving something a go.
Yeah.
Then
I know.
overthinking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Overthinking something.
Yeah. I always say, or both of us, that fear can also show up as overthinking, procrastination, and planning. You know, like when you're, if you're not taking those steps, it's actually just fear showing up over and over again until you put the confidence on to like move forward.
Exactly.
Take the $1 course.
Yeah.
Learn it, implement it. Like
Yeah.
that's so cool. And that's so amazing. We're so proud of you. Like we've actually seen you grow as well, and you probably see our comments all the time. We're like, oh my gosh, love, ha. But it's so cool to even just be here in your space and learn even just more about you and meet you in person. Like
Yeah,
how
I
crazy
know.
is that? How crazy is the
Yeah.
internet? We would have never we probably would have met.
Yeah, I think that was the right time to
Yeah.
meet, because I had planned before I was going to come as well over, and I wanted to see you guys. I was like, I might fly over soon.
Yes.
But then things got in the way. I had some health issues, so all better now though.
Oh,
All
good.
better. All good now. And my whole health journey really opened my eyes to on prioritizing the right things. And
Yes.
yeah, I just honestly, what I'm thankful for business the most is the opportunity to develop myself personally.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
gave me the chance to do it fast,
Yes.
and like gave me so many challenges that I was just able
Yeah.
to like do it quickly.
Yeah.
Whereas if I just stayed still, I would have probably not grown as fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true. And I think that's the same as, I guess, I know for me, I would have never taken the time to reflect on myself if it wasn't for business. Because
Yeah.
and even like when I see people who do a lot of self-development courses and don't have business, I'm like, man, you're so strong.
Yeah.
Because I needed a reason. Like I was like, okay, there's a lot of people looking. I need to figure out what the hell's going on inside and why do I keep having these thoughts. That was the only reason why, because I knew like business, income, need to make money, need to pay bills. But I think without that motivation, I would have probably never.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, when I see people doing all these things, and it's not motivated by money, I'm like, you're the man. Like that's next level. Yeah.
Exactly. Do you guys? Thank you guys. Honestly, this was an awesome conversation. I feel like it wasn't even a podcast. It was like a coffee catch-up and being business nerds. But I'm so thankful for you both for coming onto the show. I appreciate your time, sharing your wisdom and your knowledge. I'm sure there will be so many, you know, even if it's just 1 or 2 girls who come and watch this and they feel empowered, that is a lot to me. Like changing lives in that, just a thought. It's just an idea. You're planting the seed. So I thank you guys so much. My last question to you both is, what is your word, you know, one word of advice for women who want to take the next step into their lives?
I think for now is like seek the support. Find someone that you feel is leading in your industry, or whoever you feel like you want to learn from. Take that step, reach out to them 100%. Like if they're a good person, they're going to reply, they'll help you if you need. And don't be afraid, like just ask for the help. Like that's probably the first step I would say to take. But yeah.
I think, what I said before, like, you cannot think an impossible thought. So if you wake up and you think about what you want to do, those dreams that you think, oh my gosh, I'll never get there, it's there for a reason. Like God put that in on your heart, and chase after them. Like at the conference, one of the guest speakers, she's massive in our industry, and like I remember when I started Lashes, I looked at her and I thought, man, she's amazing. Like I hope one day I get to meet her and then she'll remember my name. Hello, we're sitting at the same table as her. And then when you do get there, like actually you are good enough to sit on those tables. Like they're actually like just like you, a human that actually went for, you know, believed in themselves. I think that's the biggest thing. Just like believe in yourself, know that anything is possible, get around the right people. Man, get on a call with us. Like
we have a free strategy like link that people can book themselves in. No obligation. We're not gonna block you after.
I think I love jumping on those calls because a lot of the time when girls jump on, they're like, I'm thinking of, like, for example, one of our clients, Cisco Collective, they are 2 Māori girls, and they want to try, because in Australia, and you know, they're away from New Zealand, they're trying to connect Australian-born Māori back to their culture. And they were saying that, and I was just like, all of a sudden I just had this like light bulb moment, and I was like, man, this is amazing. Like, you have to do this. You cannot drop this. Like, this is for your kids, this is for the future generation. Like, you cannot shy away from what is the word? You can't shy away from your purpose. Like, and you know, when you feel like things are slow or it's not going to work, or someone says something like, oh, do you think you'll make money doing that? Like, you will. If you 100% believe that this will help someone, change someone's life, man, the money will follow. So yeah, I think that's my biggest one.
Nice.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.